Hello and welcome to a new season of Shock's Talks. The truth is stranger than fiction. This is my study hall for students of anomalous phenomena, students of the great mysteries, and for anyone who wants to learn about UAP, UFOs, aliens, consciousness, psi abilities, and all things paranormal and anomalous. Today, I'm going to do a quick recap of 2025 and the major highlights that we experienced for disclosure and in psi movements. And then we're going to talk about a theory of everything that I think will be key in us moving through our anomalous studies in 2026. So 2025 was the year that we had the New Jersey drones at the beginning of the year. Whitley Strieber released his book, The Fourth Mind, where he talks about his experiences with the gray aliens, and he actually goes into details about their biology, their purpose, their habits, their traits, and more. The telepathy tapes gained a lot of popularity this last year, and the collective consciousness became very tuned into psi abilities from many different angles. The telepathy tapes showed us how some people are tapping into things like telepathy, seeing without eyes, remote healing, and even experiencing communications with people in the afterlife. We had the first ever Psi Games this year, put on by Hakeem Isler. This took place in Charlottesville, Virginia. I went to it. It was incredible. I covered it on the channel, and they're doing it again this year in North Carolina. There was a UAP hearing, another big major hearing in September in front of the Congress, and we got to hear from some key witnesses such as Jeffrey Nusatelli, Alexandra Wiggins, George Knapp, and Dylan Borland. Jake Barber was on the scene this past year with his group Skywatcher. He did a very important interview with Ross Coulthart on News Nation where he described an egg-shaped UAP that he had recovered in one of his jobs as a government contractor, a military contractor working to retrieve and transport anomalous craft. There was a psionics summit that was put on by Ubiquity University. We heard from Dan Sherman in a very rare interview that he did with Jesse Michaels. He wrote the book Above Black, and he has a background in basically working as a psychic and communicating with aliens for the military. Then we had the second annual Global Disclosure Day, which was put on by the New Paradigm Institute, a beautiful summit full of amazing speeches. You can find that online, and you can see my coverage of it here on Shock's Talks. And finally, we're closing out the year with the release of a pretty big and important documentary, The Age of Disclosure. While many people in the community are critiquing the tone of this piece, everyone agrees that it is full of valuable key witness testimonies and a lot of good information about the government's history with the legacy program, crash retrievals, and reverse engineering anomalous tech. So all of this shows us that we're at a tipping point now. Not only is disclosure happening in real time, and we're seeing it from every different angle, we are also in a consciousness revolution where the whole larger consciousness system is beginning to reawaken to our true human potential, which is why I love events like the Psi Games and the Psionics Summit, and the fact that all of these psychics are coming forward to speak about their experiences with remote viewing and mediumship and healing and other psi abilities, because what they're teaching us all is that these are innate traits that are available to us to cultivate and experience ourselves, and that's what I'm most interested in this year. So in order to move forward with our own practices and cultivating our own abilities, there are going to be many different recommendations throughout the year of things that I'm doing and things that we can all do to continue learning and growing and really applying the skills that we have to develop them and to access more psi abilities. Something that we're learning from shows like the telepathy tapes is that one psi ability leads to another. So if you begin, for example, a remote viewing practice, you may end up becoming telepathic. If you learn to see without eyes, you may end up becoming an excellent remote viewer. If you practice Reiki or distant healing, you may end up also sharpening your intuition and being able to access data at a distance. And how is all of this possible? Well, it's simple. We live in a consciousness reality and we are consciousness. So this is where the work of Tom Campbell and his trilogy My Big Toe comes in. This is going to be foundational for our understanding this year. This is the lens through which I'm viewing all of this anomalous phenomena. This theory of everything I have found to be the most comprehensive and useful model for understanding reality that allows us to navigate these strange waters. So let me break down for you what this is all about. In the simplest terms, Tom Campbell states that we are individuated units of consciousness living in a system of consciousness. This is very similar to what ancient yogis have described and what many other scientists and philosophers and spiritual thinkers have talked about in their own terminology. But Tom Campbell is putting it into a modern terminology that strips away all the spiritual connotations that may weigh us down and trying to make it very digestible for our analytical mind, which has become the dominant mindset in most of the world at this point in time. So in order to go back to our true nature, our roots, where we started, we have to loosen our grip on this rational thinking and this materialist reality, because we are being flooded with all kinds of excellent evidence right now to prove that this is an information-based reality that we're living in. So I believe that the consciousness system itself is going through a massive upgrade right now, and we are all a part of it. Whether human or non-human, we are all consciousness and we are netted, and we have the ability to navigate the consciousness system through our intent. So what makes us individuated units of consciousness? What separates us from the whole? Well, we have free will. We have choice. Every choice that we make is the movement. It's the decision space that we have. It is the ability that we have to influence the whole. We are not in charge of everything that's happening all around us all the time. There are many different factors coming together to create this reality that we are experiencing in. But we do have free will and we are able to make choices within it. This is not a deterministic reality. So what that means is that we can use our intent to modify future probabilities. We can affect change through our intention. And if we loosen our grip on this Western materialist, capitalistic mindset that we've gotten lost in, and we open to a more primitive, imaginative, natural, and creative way of thinking and being, we have a better chance of accessing all of these psi abilities that are starting to come online for so many people throughout the world. Now, in a consciousness-based system, we have the ability to do things like shift data streams. So one example of shifting data streams is reading a book. When you read a book, your mind goes off to another realm and you become immersed in it, even though your physical body and the rest of your senses are still here in physical matter reality. In a way, you have left your body behind. And this is one version of an out-of-body experience. Remote viewing is another version. I think sometimes the terms can be limiting because we think that to have an out-of-body experience, we have to lay down and float out of our body and look back down and see ourselves. And while that is a very exciting experience that many people have, I think in order to get there, we have to soften our understanding of what it means to shift data streams and start where we're at. Even a meditation or a creative visualization is a great way to shift data streams. And one of the things that we can do when we shift data streams is we can access and influence the non-physical realms. We can communicate with non-physical beings. We can communicate with other humans in this other plane of existence. And many people, like the kids on the telepathy tapes and others, are demonstrating this to us at this time in reality. So what could be the benefits of more of us being able to access these abilities? Well, for one, sharpening our intuitions is going to be a great way for us to continue moving through the reality frame that we are primarily focused within in a positive way. If we want to see good things happen in 2026 for the planet, for the people, for the world, we all have to do our part. We have to take the decision space that we have, and we have to align with love and the good of all and make decisions that move us in that direction. Each one of us who does that is going to contribute to the collective movement towards a more peaceful and sustainable reality for everyone. Another benefit of tapping into Psi abilities is the power of healing. If we can align our intentions with the energies of the universe to bring healing down into physical matter reality, we can actually heal from diseases, mental and physical. We can optimize our health. And yes, we may not have control over every single factor in reality. There are other things at play here, and one of them is the psychic weather. And the psychic weather is created by all of our negative energy and thoughts. One of the themes in the telepathy tapes in season 2 that comes up again and again is different people with Psi abilities mentioning that sometimes negative thoughts and negative energies can block their abilities. That is a perfect example of Tom Campbell's theory in action. You have opposing intentions that are clashing to diminish the probability of that positive outcome. So in order for us to strengthen the power of our intent and to widen the decision space that we have to engage in these practices, kind of like ninjas, kind of like yogis, or however you want to think of yourself. But it's going to take a little bit of discipline and commitment and effort over time to not only develop our Psi abilities, but to have a greater impact on this reality. Right now, there are people who are taking stainless steel knives and magnetizing them with their energy, and they're able to pick up little objects with something that shouldn't be a magnet. There are people online all over TikTok right now displaying their PK abilities, psychokinesis. I've started playing around with this, and it's really, really fun. You can take a can and put it horizontal on a flat surface and just start sending energy and see if you can get that can to roll. And this is where the imagination comes in, because sometimes you have to work with your own limiting beliefs. And at first you may have to use a little bit of air to get that can rolling. But over time, people are stepping many feet away from the can and they're still able to get it to roll. Or they're putting a piece of tinfoil on a little needle and moving it with their hands. And then once they get confident in their ability, they put a glass jar over it so that no air can be disturbing or moving this little piece of foil. And then they're just using their mind and their energy to still make the thing spin. The kids who are seeing without eyes and adults and blind people are undergoing scientific testing right now. A lot of analysis is happening around these abilities. And basically what we're learning is that they're almost impossible to explain. But if you have Tom Campbell's theory, it all makes sense. Because if you understand this theory, you realize that we are not limited by the rule set of this physical matter reality. This is merely a subset of a larger reality, and we have a lot of ability within it. So it's very similar to the Matrix. It's time for all of us to wake up to a greater understanding, to play and have fun, and to move ourselves and this world towards greater harmony and peace and health for everyone. There's a lot we can do in a short amount of time, and the scale is really tipping right now. So let's make 2026 amazing together, and meet me back here for more study time. We're going to be talking about current UAP and UFO events, alien news and stories. I'm constantly reading books and doing book reports, and we're also going to be doing practical application of Psi abilities in this season. The reason that I'm calling this season The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction is because I also want to start talking about some really cool stories. Myth and story are going to be an important part of our progress into these imaginal realms, into these non-physical realms, and into a deeper understanding of what really goes on when humans are creative. This is a very important piece of the puzzle, and I predict that we will hear more about this in 2026 from all of these different sources. It's time to play and express ourselves. It's time to learn and grow, and I'm really grateful that you're doing it here with me. If you like this channel and you like what you saw today, please like the episode and subscribe so that you can get more. If you click the bell notification, you'll know every time I drop a video. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time on Shox Talks.